So it looks like on this 28th week in Ordinary Time, we begin with the letter of St. Paul to the Romans. In a way, you can always be certain and sure that the epistle to the Romans is from St. Paul. There's always many of these scholars that keep looking whether it's from Paul and not and all that. The liturgy reminds us, letter of St. Paul to the Romans, so you don't have to, you're in safe ground to say, yeah, St. Paul to the Romans. Because usually you say, well, we don't know the author. Well, that's a academic thing there. We know that he has the authority of Paul, and he calls himself a slave of Christ Jesus. That's good. That's very nice. We had only one slave in the history of popes who became pope. I forgot it was. I hate it, but I'm thinking of the Pope Damasus, but that he was Spaniard. He was a Spaniard. This is the first Spaniard pope, the Pope Damasus. But this one, anyway, Paul gives himself that identity of a slave of Christ Jesus, but at the same time, in a high exalted vocation, called to be an apostle and set apart for the gospel of God and bring it to the Gentiles. So he's got a high level responsibility, but also calling, and then how he blends it in, trying to say, peace be with you, grace to you, etc., and how he's able then to greet the Romans. So through here, already the church is saying with the Psalm 98, the Lord has made known his salvation. And to a certain extent, throughout the whole world, after 20 centuries, yeah, that the Lord has made known his salvation through his ministers, through his apostles, through all the missionaries throughout the whole world and today. And of course, we still need, besides that being a reality, we still need to go even further to many of the people who are not Christians as yet. For instance, in China, Macau, we're just beginning to get a foothold. In the Asian countries, it's only the Philippines. So we need to really be much more evangelizing and missionary like St. Paul, so as to fulfill this beautiful vision and promise that the Lord has made. The Lord has made known his salvation to all. And in spite of the gospel that we read here about this generation, they wanted to have a lot of proof of who Jesus is, that as the church proclaims to other peoples, to all nations, they may be able to see that here we have someone that is greater than Jonah and greater than Solomon. And it's the Lord as he's being proclaimed to others. And so let us then continue with the Eucharist, that the Eucharist may open our eyes and give us a vocation as powerful as Paul to the others. And even though we don't go out, we'll do like St. Teresa, the little flower, that she never left the convent, and yet she's the patroness of missions. We'll do it from here, from the Eucharist.